Oh, wow. Well, look at this. It's almost as if that's a perfect analogy to Europe and other Western nations walking themselves off of the cliff and extincting themselves. But don't worry, the child was saved in time. But will Europe and the West be as well? As right now, we are seeing a major uprising with a lot of very important symbolic gestures and protests that are happening right now, all exclusively pushing back against what many people believe to be a big globalist agenda that some people are saying now is finally being put back in check. Is that exactly what's going on here? Is there a populist uprising? Will the future be bright and full of people actually fighting, protecting their own individual sovereignty, their own country, their own individualism, their own beauty and life? Or will it all just be eugenicized with population control and other invasive measures like migration that will destroy it from within? What in the world is going to be going on here? We're going to be talking about that, as well as some very interesting comments from Elon Musk, Tucker Carlson. Nick Fuentes even said some stuff about this way, way long ago. And now it's becoming a mainline conversation piece, especially with the Trump administration now even urging it on. How is this going to transpire? Well, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about in this particular video. And if you appreciate these type of videos, subscribe, click the notification button, as Alex Jones just came out and said, Western nations demand mass deportations. Native populations are rising. Nationalism is surging across borders and even in Australia. Globalists are fast losing their control. Now we need to deport all of the invaders to Israel and see if the ADL still pushes flooding the West with replacement migration. Israel does have very stringent type of immigration policies. There's a lot of also historic Sephardi and African type of migration that they push back at pretty conveniently, but this has nothing to do with the conversation piece that's happening right now, as a lot of people are using this one particular moment of a young teenage girl standing up for her relatives, for her family, against allegedly someone who is trying to aggress against them with this shocking photo and video that's, by the way, banned in the United Kingdom. Now, Alex Jones also said that the UN replacement migration program has awoken the, quote, sleeping giant. And when we look at the protests that are happening today, they are big, they are massive, and they are something to consider and talk about, specifically when it comes to the future of right-wing populistic type of governments, if they're able to carry out, and this is why the Trump administration and all of their efforts are extremely important to pay attention to see if they actually follow through, to see if they actually keep their campaign promises, because the whole world is watching. As now we are seeing what is being reported as the largest mass immigration protests in Australia's history. As we have Vishgred24 reporting that there are tens of thousands taking part in the March for Australia in many parts around that particular country, as there's now even protests in Japan demanding that Japan end mass migration. As of course, Japan is facing a huge population decline. So is a lot of the kind of white Western world. Let's just be honest with ourselves, along with Japan and some other Asian countries. I mean, even China. China's taking a very kind of aggressive approach against this. It's very interesting to see what they're doing here, as we have seen kind of similar initiatives and programs being launched by Western countries, as Elon Musk responded to this protest in Australia by saying, X is the media now, because you are the media now. Absolutely. As it's pretty clear here, the corporate media has been regurgitating World Economic Forum, globalist Bilderberg talking points without even batting an eye, as they tell you the inverse of reality in front of your own eyes and ears. Now, Elon Musk has been extremely active, specifically when it comes to promoting and talking about this, as a lot of people in the UK recently, I've been seeing this all over social media, have been drawing and making the St. George Cross. Now, we have seen the British government respond to this with their latest Palantir tech. Palantir, with their CEO bragging about how he stopped right-wing populism in Europe before. We have seen, will Palantir stop this one? Or will it approve of this one? Well, we got some interesting messaging from J.D. Vance that might tell you what could be potentially going on here now. But the British government has been arresting people who have been outraged about St. George's Cross being painted everywhere in the United Kingdom, as J.D. Vance is now, quote, urging Brits to push back against the craziness as people are opposing flying the Union and St. George flags, which is kind of crazy. As Alan D. Miller writes, it's quite something when a vice president of the United States of America is more enthusiastic of British cultural history and values than some elected officials in Britain. It's pretty clear here. J.D. Vance went to Europe during the Munich conference that says, hey, guys, you guys got to respect free speech. We got to be more aligned here. We're becoming less and less aligned, and you guys got to allow people to express themselves. Europe responded by arresting more people. And that's one of the reasons, before getting into some of the more kind of interesting comments from Tucker Carlson, I think we might even have time to play some Nick comments as well. Before getting into that, we want to tell you about LukeUnfiltered.com. If you haven't signed up for that, what are you doing? It's quick, it's easy, it's simple. And of course, we also have a range day where we could celebrate Americana and our rights. If you have rights, you have responsibilities. Now, a lot of people just want the rights without the responsibilities. You got to be responsible for yourself. And that's why taking a range day class is more important than ever. And that's what I'm doing September 20th here in South Florida. Beautiful time to visit South Florida. An amazing time to come hang out, meet like-minded individuals, and do some really advanced, fun training. And there's only 10 spots available. I'm not even checking who's RSVPing or not. It might already be filled up. Who knows? LukeUnfiltered.com. It's only for members, so we know who you are. So we know that you're, a good person. And it's going to be something that truly I don't see anyone else doing. And I think, especially in light of recent events, especially this past week, I think it's a little bit more important than ever to highlight the importance of being personally responsible and being able to defend yourself against crazy people. And there's a lot of crazy people out there. Don't be crazy. Be responsible. LukeUnfiltered.com. Check it out. Sign up right now and be a part of a larger community centered around making you the best, strongest, most amazing version of yourself. Now, let's get back to these protests that truly are massive and representative of what a lot of people say is a shift in the culture, a shift in the political discourse that is changing extremely fast, as now a lot of people are saying, you know what, we're just going to stop paying council tax. You know why? Because you take my money and then you literally use it to fund my replacement while importing some of the most dodgy, most criminal, sinister elements into our country. Not all of them, but people who are not aligned with your cultural values already create friction in your community. Now add that to the fact of some of these people being predators, especially against children, and awful human beings that do not respect women. Respect women. You have a recipe for disaster, so why should people say that? As Natalie F. Daniel Ishin writes, the British are taking a page from 1776 and are refusing to pay council tax after a ruling allowed migrants' hotels to stay open. Yeah, I mean, that is just crazy. And that's where a lot of the protests are, as there's a lot of people gathered outside of these hotels that their taxes are paying for. Not only does it make hotel rooms just more expensive, but people just waste away money on these new type of people, as Elon Musk now is tweeting about this a lot, specifically detailing how, hey, there's a lot of abuse rings that start from these migrant centers, as we are hearing that more than 1 million young people in the UK were assaulted. What? Are you freaking kidding me? as there's MPs saying that this is a natural disaster, demanding a task force, as previously the British government and the British police said, we're not going to investigate this. Oh, there's grooming gangs? Oh, there's people from the Middle East that we imported in, that we said, come on in, guys, that we're giving fancy hotels to, that now we're taking small little British girls and doing horrible, evil things to them? Yeah, we're not going to do anything. We don't want to seem culturally insensitive to these new groups of people that we're importing. There's going to be a backlash against us if we do that. That's what they said. That's evil. That is criminal. As Alice Smith on Twitter writes, how many public sector workers, politicians, police officers, social workers, civil servants, NHS staff were involved in covering up a national scandal of this scale? A lot, all of them. And you keep hearing story after story. I mean, my goodness, some of the deprived, evil behavior. There was a 13-year-old schoolgirl that I just can't. I just can't get into the details. I try to make this as much of a family-friendly show as possible. I don't curse. I don't do any of that. But my goodness, case after case after case after case. How many more cases do you need to see a pattern here? My goodness. Ireland. A Nigerian man came to Ireland illegally and ended up working in a nursing home. And then he forced himself on a 73-year-old woman with dementia. My goodness. What a sick, disgusting human being. And then they're like, oh, no, but we got to take your money. We're going to take your money. Give me your money. Give me your goddamn money. Gosh darn money. Give me it. Now my camera's out of focus. And then they're like, yeah, here you go, Abdullah. Here, have your way here with the local population. That is just evil. And when we look at the crime statistics, especially against women, I mean, look at the comparisons from 2000 to 2023, just 23 years. And people are living in a totally different type of society where it's no longer safe to walk down the street at night. I don't want my children. I don't want my people to grow up like this. And thank goodness they're not. But there's a big push here, especially by USAID. Thank God that organization doesn't exist anymore. That helped propped up leftist liberal political leadership in Poland, right? And I'm like, what are you kidding me? My tax dollars in America are now going to change my home country to be more open to mass migration? What? And to be more leftist, more liberal, more woke? That is sick. Now, clearly, when you look at the statistics, when you look at everything that's happening here, Poland made the right decision. But now Poland's being twisted and turned and pushed more and more towards the left, which I find disgusting. As right now, for the first time in Europe, there's a lot of populist right-wing political parties that are leading in the polls. And they're leading in the polls in the United Kingdom, in France, and in Germany. Sean Davis writes, quote, which can only mean one thing. The leaders of those parties are about to get arrested by the government of the UK, France, and Germany. Yep. There's already major considerations labeling the opposition political party a terrorist organization in Germany. In Romania, there was a right-wing political candidate that was about to win. Nope. Or jail. Marine Le Pen. Jail. She can't run for presidency of the United States, a part of her, because she used EU funds for a security guard. Oh. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Which is just deranged, insane type of thinking. Now, Tucker Carlson just says, quote, the left loves to dismiss anyone that talks about rapid demographic changes in the West as a conspiracy theorist. But the so-called great replacement is a theory, is neither a conspiracy nor a theory. Yeah. And then he goes on and then specifically talks about how everything's changing dramatically, especially with the ideas that people are prideful in their culture, their heritage, their homeland, which a lot of people now see as dangerous. His national identity is being shamed instead of celebrated. A part of a demoralization effort, in my opinion, to help bring in more people, to help destabilize, to help destroy. Listen, there's a reason the Bilderberg Group keeps talking about depopulation and migration at a lot of their meetings. Now, a lot of people are like saying the Great Replacement is a conspiracy theory. A lot of people are saying the Great Replacement is a conspiracy theory. And then the one white guy left behind. Oh, what? Again, absolutely key, critically important, especially when you look at the statistics here. Now, Nick F. has been talking about this for quite a while. Let's just be honest with ourselves. This is what he had to say years ago.
Because what we say on America First, what I say, when I say the Great Replacement, here's what I mean. I mean that there is a global demographic transition happening, which is that the global south of largely non-white people who are very poor are moving north to invade and take over white countries.
Now, when you look at it, listen, look at the fertility rates, look at the population levels, look at the replacement levels. It's happening. There was an immigration boom from 2022 to 2024 that's hiding the fact that even in the United States, population growth has plummeted. And it's a huge disaster that's going to lead to tremendous amounts of overwhelming pain, suffering, instability, economic upheaval. Now, listen, when you look at these numbers here, with Donald Trump now creating more of a protectionist, populist type of policy, saying, hey, guys, you guys should give children. He's even talking about giving a tax incentive and initiative. Countries like Hungary literally allow you to not pay taxes if you have more than 3+ children. In Poland, you get paid to have children. Population rates are still down. Now, there's some people coming back from Poland. A lot of people immigrated out of too. Okay, that's one of the reasons why the population is also kind of down there, because people go to other places like the United Kingdom for economic quote opportunities. Now they're leaving because they're like, this is a crap hole. That's unsafe for me. I don't want to be in these crap hole areas. Now, when you look at these type of downturns, they're big. When you look at natural births, look at these immigrations. By the way, these are like rookie numbers. These are the official numbers. The other numbers are way, way higher, especially with immigration. Now, it's not just that. It's just people are waiting later to have children. The longer they wait, the less fertile they become. And when we look at fertility, that also is going down dramatically. Now, one of the few places that it's not is Sub-Saharan Africa. That's one of the few places that the West is like, come on in, guys. Now, a lot of this is just kind of like neoliberal type of insane people who are like, yeah, we're gonna have to keep importing people to have economic growth here. Other people truly do hate themselves, the population, their country, their culture, their heritage, their nationality. Those people, those self-destructive individuals, usually tend to be on the left. The leftist ideology, especially with all the culture that they push, especially all the messaging that they push, re-incentivizes and cements this type of kind of, I would say, suicidal ideation that is vast, that is dangerous, and I would say one of the most pressing, dangerous issues of our time. Now, will the people rise up and elect political leadership that will actually represent them in a way where they push back, fight back against this, and incentivize and get their ish straight to the point where there could be some kind of resurgence? Well, for there to be a resurgence, you also need there to be, this is the catch-22, and this is why I think the future, I always love being optimistic and positive, but let's just be honest with ourselves. For population births and rates to kind of like increase, you're going to have economic prosperity to where the women are prioritizing families rather than careers. And this is a sinister type of scam that David Rockefeller pushed on everyone that has created the modern feminist movement, created this kind of women's liberation movement. They're like, oh, smoke cigarettes, you look so good, yeah. What idiots. I want to serve the corporate slave overlord rather than a family. That type of brainwashing, especially of like white women, especially with like the really kind of grotesque like type of like fetishization that they push on them and the debauchery that they push on them, the layers of how they do this and the sophisticatedness of how they do this is really sinister, evil, genius level type of stuff. All right. So now you have all these strong, independent girl bosses that are degenerates. I don't see them saying, yeah, you know, I'm going to prioritize a family over degeneracy and my career. I just don't see that. Plus, you need economic stability to the point for males to actually earn money to support both of the people. And with the decline of population, which is going to happen, especially when you kick all the immigrants out, you're going to have less economic prosperity because there's just less people. Less demand, less market. It's just simple supply and demand type of economies. Unless we face some kind of big financial restructuring where we all now use gold, we're all on the gold standard. Oh, there's a big reset. I'm not a fan of the reset. I don't want the globalist reset. I think it might be a little bit too late. But I still rather see this than just have the absolute conquest of the West. And if you agree with that, share this video. Let's at least, if we're going to go out, let's go out proverbially standing up on our feet. Peacefully, non-violently, of course. Always non-violently. If you agree with that, share this video. Thank you so much for signing up to lukeunfiltered.com. Really excited to teach you guys some really fun stuff on the range. I want to be here for you guys doing that, and this is why. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more. All here exclusively on youtube.com/weareChange.